I strongly support this motion and the whole concept behind it. We cannot go on in this country, particularly in a post-Brexit situation, without doing more to bring together all parts of the United Kingdom. It is one of our most serious and grave errors in postponing this issue. I also believe that the honourable gentleman has made the most realistic proposition. It is not going to be done by this government, and therefore it is much more sensible for all those other parties in another place to come together now and start to have a mechanism of building a great deal more trust. Of course it will be difficult because of differences between the Labour Party and the SNP in particular, but nevertheless, the most likely next government of this country will be another one which is composed of more than one particular party. And those parties that aspire to come together had better start learning to talk to each other. Now, on the question of this issue, the problem is the asymmetry of the United Kingdom, and it is very hard to deal with it. The population of England accounts for 84% of the UK's population. Scotland accounts for 8%, population of Wales 5%, and the population of Northern Ireland 3%. Therefore, we have to look at the UK as a whole and recognise, and I think it's a great tribute to the Conservative Party, that they have started on a serious pattern of devolution for England. And I welcome that. Now, I used to believe that it was possible to reform this place, to elect it and make it a federal chamber. The reality is it's never going to happen. It's not legitimate, and most of us in our hearts know. A chamber that purports to legislate has to be totally rooted in elections. This chamber will go. I was looking back at some speeches of Winston Churchill when he was a Liberal in 1905, going onwards for 4 or 5 years, the vehemence with which he said this place had to be abolished, unfortunately, has been dissipated by time, but it will be abolished. And in the meantime, we need to build federal structures. I do think it's important to take a completely different way of this. Look at this federal mechanism as providing for elected members Holyrood, Cardiff Bay, Stormont, as well as devolved and decentralised government structures in England, to participate in a UK federal council. It's very different and potentially more acceptable form of federal governance. It would involve a devolved London Assembly, the 8 big cities emerging now with devolved powers in England. And it would have to, for that rest of the UK, rely on separate representation for county and borough councils and unitary authorities in England who already have their mechanism for concerting their views. And then it seems to me we should be humble enough in this country to look at the one structure that actually works, and it's not that very far away. It's the Bundesrat in Germany, and it had a lot of help from constitutional experts in this country in aftermath of the Second World War in trying to help German people devise a new constitution. And just look at their problem. They face the problem of asymmetry in the Bundesrat. Baden-Württemberg, over 10 billion. Bavaria, over 12 million. Berlin, 3,395,000. And then you look at small lander like Bremen, 663,000 people. So this is a structure that has come together which deals with the issue of asymmetry. It deals with the problem of elections, but they come to it from the landers. So you don't have creating another body to be elected. The House of Commons will not let this happen. Those of us in this place who've been in the House of Commons know perfectly well they speak with forked tongues. They advocate elections for a second chamber, but they're never going to do it because they quite rightly know there will be a constitutional clash as soon as you have this. And I think we have to accept it, us reformers who thought we could live with this situation. It's not going to happen. There won't be an elected second chamber. Eventually, this chamber will be abolished, and before that, slowly, we will build up a structure which creates a federal UK, and the sooner, the better. And instead of waiting for the government, I wrote to the Prime Minister as soon as she took office and asked her what she would do about this, and basically it was negative. This government has got enough on its plate. It's not going to do anything if it survives until the year 2022, when we will have a fixed-term election. In the meantime, the opposition parties should start a process of dialogue and discussion, and I hope very much it is along the bounds of this. If any honourable member wants to see much more detailed proposals that I put forward on this, I'd be very happy to send them details of a federal UK council.